All right, you guys, we find ourselves in a little different situation because, well, my projector's still broken. So I'm going to go over, I haven't decided yet, but I think I'm going to go over some part of the notes with y'all, probably the steps, and write that on the board. But then the examples you'll have to do on the video alone. But for those of you who are at home, remote learning, and or quarantined, I'm going to go ahead and do all the notes and have those up ready to go. So we are doing graphing linear equations and inequalities. All right, so to do this, we're going to need to know slope and our y-intercept, and we've already discussed those plenty of times, so it shouldn't come as a big surprise. We're going to go ahead and start with a quick definition of y-intercept, and as much as we need for these notes, sorry. So my y-intercept, if you remember, is my b, and this is the point on the y-axis. And for today's notes, I want you to remember begin with B. Begin with B. Okay? Then the other thing you need to know is slope. And slope, if you recall, is your M. As far as what we're doing today, what you need to know about slope is that it is my rise over my run. We're graphing lines. Now you might have learned this differently. I'm going to show you how I do it. Again, if you are proficient in what you have learned already, do not change it. I'm just showing you a different way, especially for those of you who didn't quite get it the first time, that you learned it either last year or the year before. So rise over run. Rise means to rise up, go up, and then run means side to side. That's how I do it. Maybe you do it differently, whatever works for you. And then I also want you to remember slope man, which we met last week, I believe, were positive, negative, undefined nose, and a zero mouth, because he's worried you're not going to remember slope. All right, as far as this goes, I want you to remember move with M. Begin with B, move with M. Okay? And we are going to do graphing lines first, and then we're going to add on to that so we know how to do inequalities. So let me give you the quick 5 steps to graphing lines, and then we'll move on to examples. Step 1, you have to change it into slope-intercept form. That means if it's in standard form and point-slope form and whatever form it is, make sure you change it to slope-intercept form. That's your good old friend y equals mx plus b. And then step 2 we already wrote down, but you will begin with b. Which is your y-intercept. Step 3, you move with M. Which is your slope, which we'll refer to right now as rise over run. Step 4, Continue plotting points until you run out of graph. And finally, step 5, connect. Connect and arrows. Because if our graph were bigger, we would continue going on forever and ever. All right. Next video is going to go over one example with you.